Hey, Night Wolves. Sorry I couldn't be there today. Um, I guess this is the next best thing. We're going to continue on. Yesterday we learned three new words, vocabulary words: estimate, sum, and difference. So let's review those quickly before we head on into our lesson. Estimate, if you remember, and you can look at the side board that's over to the side, that estimate is an about amount. It's not exactly. It's an amount that's close to what our answer should be. So now let's talk about answers to math problems. First, we learned that the sum is the answer to an addition problem. So if I said, what is the sum of 3 and 4? That would be 7. So the sum would be 7. Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So we're actually estimating or getting a close amount of a sum, which is the answer to an addition problem, and a close amount for the answer for a subtraction problem. So let's take a look at the essential question. It says, what strategies can I use to add or subtract? Also, if you'll look, I've put another essential question that I'd like for you to read, and that is on the sideboard under essential question. How and why is estimating sums and differences beneficial in solving addition and subtraction problems? Well, let's find that out today. That should be our focus today. All right, so I'm going to move myself up here a little bit instead of at the bottom. And so I can click through this. How can we use estimation to check for reasonableness? So how do we know if our addition or if our subtraction skills allow us to subtract efficiently and correctly? And does our answer make sense? So how can estimation, think on that for just a minute. Well, I hope you thought about that, well, estimation would be a quick way to see if my answer is reasonable, because when I estimate, I notice that I end up with lots of zeros, and zeros are easy to add and subtract, so I can almost probably do this mentally to see if my exact answer is close to my estimate. So that is very important, not just in math class, but in life as we go out and we are trying to figure out how much we bought at the store or figuring out how much material we need. We need to make sure that we can estimate to check to see if our exact answers are reasonable. Let's take a look at this problem right here that's on the board. Micah added 6,323 to 2,845 and got a sum of 8,168. Is this answer reasonable? So, Ms. Thomas, if you would, pause the video and let them think and work on this for about a couple minutes. Okay, well, let's take a look at this problem and let's just see. Get some writing. Okay. So if we said 6,323 and we're looking for the sum, so I know that's the addition word, so that's 2,845. So let's so we want an about, okay, we want an about, so let's round this to the thousands place. So if we round 6,323 to the nearest thousand, there's our thousands place. We look at the digit to the right. So that's less than 5, so this remains the same. And all the digits to the right become zeros. So 6,323 is close to 6,000, which it is. Let's see about 2,845. Well, 800 is over halfway because 5 is halfway. So we know if it's 5 or more, then this goes up 1. So this would be 3,000. Now these two numbers are very much easier to add than these two numbers. So 6,000 plus 3,000 is 9,000. Where our question was his answer of 8,168 reasonable? Well, our estimate, actually his answer should be close to 9,000. So it is not reasonable. Okay, let's take a look at this next problem. A charity raised $2,941 in a week. They raised $1,673 in another week. Estimate the difference to the nearest hundred and the nearest thousand. So you're going to do both there. Circle the estimate that is more accurate and then explain. Okay? So we're going to model this together. So let's make sure you write down right now in your notebook, 2,941 minus 1,673. We're first going to round each of these numbers to the nearest hundred. Okay. So if you would, Ms. Thomas, pause again and give them a couple minutes to round each of these numbers to the nearest hundred. All right, so let's take a look. Let's not forget that where our hundreds place is. So the 9 is in the hundreds place. Okay. And the digit to the right is what we look at to decide what to do. Well, there's a 4 there, so it's less than 5, so 9 will stay the same. We replace each digit to the right with zeros, and we keep the mess to the left. And this makes sense because 2,900 is close to 2,941. We cannot forget our sign. It's a minus sign, so we're subtracting, not adding. So let's find the hundreds place here. The digit to the right is 5 or more, so this would go up to 700. And we keep the mess to the left. So we have 2,900 minus 1,700. Well, 0 ones minus 0 ones, that's easy enough, 0. 0 tens minus 0 tens, that's easy enough, 0. Well, I have 9 hundreds. Take 7 away, that leaves 200, and 2,000s minus 1,000 is 1,000. So this, estimated to the nearest hundred, the difference is 1,200. Now, Ms. Thomas, if you would, pause it again, and I want you to take those same two numbers, and I want you to round them to the nearest thousand. Okay, and estimate the difference. Okay, so go ahead and pause that and let them solve this. All right, so let's see. We're going to round to the nearest thousand. So 2,000, 2 is in the thousands place. The digit to the right is 9, so we're over halfway. So now we're going to move up to 3,000. Move it on up. We're still subtracting. The 1 is in the thousands place. The digit to the right is 6. So that means we're going to move that up. So now we got two easy numbers, 3,000 minus 2,000. Boy, that's simple enough. It's 1,000 because 3 minus 2,000 is 1,000. Okay. Now, we knew that this one was 1,200, and we rounded that to the nearest hundred. Which one do you think is the more accurate, meaning closer to the exact answer? Think about that just for a second. If you said to the nearest hundred, absolutely. And the reason being is because hundreds are a smaller unit than thousands. So being a smaller unit, we can move it in and make it closer to the exact amount. Okay? Fantastic. So now what I'd like for you to do is look on page 79 in your workbook, so turn there now. And I'd like for you, Ms. Thomas, to pause this and have them work both example 1 and example 2 in their workbook. Okay, let's take a look at your answers. So 5,481 would round to 5,500. 2,326 rounded to the nearest hundred would be 2,300. And when you add those, you would get 7,800. Okay, you can pause this now if any of the students have a question, Ms. Thomas. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, so now example 2, we're subtracting. We're still going to round to the hundreds place. So let's see what they got here for our rounded numbers and then our estimated difference. So, okay, rounding to the hundreds place, this would 7,542 rounded to 7,500. 3,225 rounded to 3,200. Now remember, we're estimating the difference. So now we need to subtract. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 2 is 3. And 7 minus 3 is 4. So the estimated difference of these two amounts is 4,300. All right, pause it again and have them do this last example on page 80. All right, let's take a look at our answers for this. You were to round to the nearest 1,000. Be careful, make sure you're following the directions rounding to what place value. So this ended up being 43,000. 21,510 equal 22,000. And 21,000 is the estimated difference. Ms. Thomas, you can stop the video and answer any questions about this. If there are no questions, students are to do problems 1 through 21 in this section. Problems 1 through 21. Thank you, guys. Work hard, and I'll see you mañana.